Wake up, gamers, because you're listening to the Big Think Dimension with Dan and Bob Video Games.
Hey, Bob.
Hey, Dan.
Chris Wolfhard.
Hashtag Bochi Sweep.
And Dan Video Games. It's me again, here on GigaBoots. Bob.
What's up?
They can't see him yet.
Okay.
But I am deeply menaced by our co-host.
Yeah, of course.
I don't
know why you let him in.
I thought you let him in.
What? That's not good.
Did you not? He keeps saying he's Dr. Aggro, but
He can't get into your home without an invitation. Somebody there must have invited him.
I think Dr. Aggro might have called him before he came.
He's just invoking him like a Bayonetta summon.
Yes.
And now you have the mental image of Dr. Aggro in leather dancing on the grounds sexually. Anyways, hello everyone. Welcome to Big Think Dimension number 198. We're here to talk about video games.
Video games?
Video games.
Video games?
Video games. Specifically, we're here to talk about Rodea the Sky Soldier.
Oh, no. All right.
Death.
So, Rodea the Sky Soldier, for anyone who doesn't know, is like the last released Wii Japanese game, specifically in Japan, because in America we have a thing called Just Dance.
Right, I'm surprised that didn't come over there, honestly. As much.
Other territories look at Just Dance the same way we looked at, what was it, SingStar, and how that was like eternal on the PS2.
Yeah.
This game is a 2015 Wii release, and in this game you play as Rodea, and there's pretty visuals, and the game it's like a 3D platformer. I guess it's made by Yuji Naka. Did you know that, Bob? Did you know that?
I knew that. I noticed that.
Okay, that's oh thank God. Okay, so our be nice to the game timer just went off. That was a good 40 seconds talking about the game.
I wasn't informed of the rules. But at least now we can talk about how it was brought up in sentencing.
It was weird. They just brought up Exhibit A, the red barrel from Sonic 3, and Exhibit B, all of Rodea.
Before people ask, we played the Wii version, the officially sponsored Yuji Naka version.
Which is...
That is the good one.
There's like layers to this. Because this is a 2015 Wii game, and that's the one he swears by. And then there's a 3DS version, and the 3DS version apparently got ported to the Wii U.
Yes.
So the Wii U is some monstrosity as someone tries to put terrible filters on a 3DS game to make it look 7th gen.
Uh-huh.
Awful excuse of a game that we booted after beating this game. There are a lot of neat ideas in Rodea. I think you would agree there, Bob.
Yeah, no, I like the idea of a game where you play the entire thing flying around an environment with that cool art style.
See, he just described Knights. You all heard him.
Yeah, it's really weird how Knights of all games has seemingly been Yuji Naka's obsession since it came out. And then he wasn't saying anymore when they made the sequel to Knights.
Right, that's hilarious. That is so funny. That man just had a dream where he could fly and was a clown once as a kid, I bet. And it has ruined him for the rest of his life. But yeah, Rodea is very much a Knights-like. Except for in this one, it's fully 3D. And you still can't control the camera. Well,
no.
For people who've never played a game on the Wii, which I feel like going forward, there are going to be fewer and fewer people who've played a game on the Wii.
Yeah, that's how that works.
And that's great.
I mean, especially where Wii games exist in that way, where they aren't able to be ported forward nearly as easily as many other systems.
And if they were, then it wouldn't be the same experience at all. Right?
Yeah, unless it is something where they replicate the pointer and stuff, which is very unlikely.
How are you going to do that? With the touchpad?
I don't know.
That would be insane. So, this game, and Wii games in general, when you aim the cursor at the edges of the screen, a lot of them will have your character turn. This game specifically kind of screws the pooch on this, because when you hit the edge of the screen, only at the very edge will it begin to turn. A lot of games, the closer you get, the more you turn. So you can do small adjustments. And the moment you go out of bounds, he will stop turning entirely. Now,
that's unforgivable.
Yes. Yes, it is.
It is. I like a lot of things about this game. It has one of the funniest cutscenes in a game we've played recently. But unfortunately, it is trapped in this terrible way to interface with a video game where looking at a thing is the hardest thing you can do.
Yeah, doing a full 180 near impossible. It's
you will drop at
insane.
least 7 stories before you can flip a 180 in this game. It's rough, and even though there's so much you can homing attack on things, because it is basically that. It's somewhere between a homing attack and a light speed dash, basically, because you see the star bits.
Yeah.
You aim at them and you fly at them, and then you follow the chain of them. Sometimes. So it's a lot more like a light speed dash than you would hope.
Right, it is very much like the light speed dash, actually.
You're using that as a crutch to help you recover from having taken way too long to turn a 180. It's a real shame, Rodea. That's the way I came out of that.
I was surprised you get a gun.
And yeah, that's fair.
That was weird.
It's like, hey, what's up? I'm this cool 3D platformer. You play as a robot man who's trying to save a princess. I'm like, you have to let me know right now if you're Blink secretly.
It had so much of the energy, specifically Blink's 2. And I don't know if that's just because both games look really cheap and bad.
It is. I mean, that definitely puts your head in the same space. But I think there's an energy that is definitely shared between this game and Artoon's, Blink's games.
Yeah, it doesn't have... when I think Blink's 2, I think of all of the stuff that makes it so weird. You don't play as a character, you play as a created character that doesn't actually involve in the story, and you... Oh my god, it's so bizarre. You don't actually accomplish anything in that game. Everything you do is instantly undone by the other team. It's bizarre. In that sense, it makes me think more of Blink's 1, just because
a
Blink
large
1 is a
amount,
real game.
Well, not only that, a large part of the plot of Blink's 1 is simping.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is fine. More simp 3D platformers, please. Thank you. If this game had just used the nunchuck.
Yeah.
It could have been fine.
But I know he'd use it wrong.
I know.
He'd be like, that means the nunchuck lets you walk around. Who cares about walking around? I need to turn the camera.
Well, they're like,
what is his obsession with not using buttons? It's obviously something that is very core to the Yuji Naka playing a game, like the Yuji Naka game experience.
I don't know how he thinks this is better than a game with a lot of buttons, but it is so inferior.
Yeah, it's that thing where the Wii enabled people like this. So you have the A and B button. You only have 2 buttons to ED access on the controller. So it's caters to people like him.
Right.
They're like, oh no,
I'm going to make the worst
buttons.
game imaginable.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a fucking tragedy. Man. That game has a voice cast. It's made by Nisa. The US version's bugged, so it will crash every time you beat the game.
That's sure a lot of Nisa games. It's so weird how that was just their thing for a long time. It's our version of the game has a point that crashes 100% of the time. Wow. Where is it? Be surprised when it shows up.
I only played their games directly from Nippon Ichi Japan. The Nisa brought over, so all the Disgaeas and spin-offs.
Right.
So I didn't run into that issue there. So I'm really surprised to find out.
None of those. At least usually the bug was in optional content.
Okay.
Not once the credits end.
Like I remember that Manakimia 2
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
had some optional boss, and it wasn't like a super boss. It was like there's like an optional boss every chapter that you can fight. One of those would just crash the game 100% of the time unless you were playing on a backwards compatible PS3, in which case something about the more resources it had made that not happen.
Weird.
What in the world?
Weird. All right.
That's bizarre.
There's also something in Artanelico 3, I think, where it would crash 100% of the time, and also in Artanelico 2.
So at that point, it's just tradition.
Yeah, man. I can't believe they botched all
and of
these.
course, none of those things were in the Japanese versions.
Of course.
Right, of course.
They don't credit a single voice actor in this cast, which is very strange.
Yeah, also you can hardly hear them.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is weird because I'm pretty sure Rodea is Sean Shiplock.
I wouldn't doubt it for a single second.
Yeah, every single voice was very recognizable. Like, I've heard them all many times before. Patrick Seitz is definitely there.
Yes, he is, because it's funny because a big rectangle shaped villain man shows up and then Patrick Seitz comes out of him. I'm like, yeah, I guess that fucking makes sense.
This all checks out.
What year was it? Okay, yeah.
And Chris looks in on the stream and he's like, yeah, they put the square peg in the square hole. Yep, there you go. Good voice casting.
But I mean, not only do they not credit any of the voice actors, they don't credit any of the developers.
Yes, that line where it's just like, thanks to Prope all staff. Like, it's basically one of those moments in the credit sequence.
Yeah, that feels more like it's on the Japanese side.
Oh, it is, 100%, because they credit the other versions, like, staff more. God. Like, they actually credited, I believe, the Wii U staff more than the Wii original staff. The only people from Prope, which is the developer of this, that gets credited is 3 people.
Yep.
In the entire developer.
Yuji Naka
has the energy
himself.
of when someone reposts art on Twitter and says credit to the artist.
Death.
I was enjoying that game despite itself for most of it. I was getting in the groove about halfway in. I started getting it. I understood.
Right.
I understood that they make a time limit mechanic where they grade you based on how long you take, but if you die, it deletes the time you took on that death. It's like, wait, so the ideal to get an A or an S, if it's possible, at every level is find the next checkpoint, then kill yourself and just do a quick run of that. It's like, oh yeah, that's really skilled. Good job, you guys. You made this correctly.
Absolutely.
So yeah, as I was saying, I was enjoying this game despite itself. And then I hit the final boss. Bob, how long do you think that final boss took?
You're there for at least an hour and a half, it felt like.
If you've beaten a Sonic 3D game, like Sonic Adventure 1, especially in my opinion, just imagine the world's worst version of that.
It is actually so fucking similar to the first half of the final boss of Sonic Unleashed, the Supersonic segment.
Mm-hmm.
But just broken.
Yeah, it's just a busted up version of that.
I was losing my mind when I realized, wait, you need to target the rocks to shoot at them, to fly towards them. But if you touch them, you'll take damage. So you have to retarget yourself and shoot in another direction before touching them. What fucking idiot designed that?
All while lasers are coming at you that you cannot tell where they're coming from. You basically have to guess because the visuals are so rough. It's hard to tell exactly what's happening.
It's a 480p game, and they made the laser cannon part on the final boss's face the same color as the rest of it.
Yep.
It's so many layers of a child could come in and do this better than you. This looks really rough. Like, this looks so bad on you. I'm going to say some things. You know, in recent years, I've gotten to be a much nicer person who bites his tongue and pulls a lot of punches. After playing enough Yuji Naka games, I'm starting to get an impression of the man where he feels entitled to not only things that maybe he didn't do, maybe he credits himself a little hard, but also what people after him come and do, in a sense, where it's just like, well, I can use that. They built on my original work. And this game feels like the world's most arrogant piece of shit. There's cool stuff in here. It could have been a good game, but Yuji Naka maliciously kept it from being such the whole way.
Yeah, it's like, wow, a lot of this seems neat. Too bad they made the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's so unfortunate because, like we said before, you could fix so many things just by controlling the camera.
Mm-hmm.
And there had to be someone at that developer like, hey, we can add this. And Yuji Naka is like, absolutely not.
No, that ruins the vision. What's the vision? What are you doing? I'm just thinking about Ghostbusters again. God damn it, Yuji. We're trying to make this video game. Stop singing that one specific song from Ghostbusters.
Do you ever think, like, this is going back to Balan, but do you ever think about how almost certainly, almost with 100% certainty, those horrible fucking QTE segments were added because somebody went, why don't you play as the character that's in all the promotional material?
100%.
Yeah.
So he did relent and added the worst thing to his game.
I'm trying to think, like, because here's the thing. It involves you flying around as a clown, right? And I'm like, but that's his thing.
I mean...
Yeah, but it's not real, and there's only 3 of them, and they last 5 minutes each.
Right.
They are so intensely bad. I feel like they have to be part of the original design document. Like, they're the worst QTEs maybe ever made.
They're so cheap that I can't imagine them not being added later, because you're flying in a void.
Mm-hmm.
There's so few of them. They're just a video file that plays.
Right.
It's real rough. As much as you're bringing this up and saying it's the worst part of that game, I went to grab some music today from Balan.
Yeah.
Spoilers. And I remembered the dance sequences at the end of every world and got really mad.
That's fair, because they reused them.
That actually made me mad at a video game in a way that I'm not usually. Because we had to watch that dance number so many times, and it was good once. Anyway, I think that's all I want to say about Rodea the Sky Soldier, other than to re-emphasize what Bob said earlier of you cannot hear the characters in this game because the audio production is botched. The audio for the Wii version specifically is like, there's a term for it, like over amplituding. It's basically the equivalent of clipping, but instead of hearing a digital clip, it sounds hot, which made me wonder if it was in the original recording. Then we booted the Wii U version, and that version's fine. So I don't know why they screwed the pooch on the Wii version that bad, because the audio quality is bad and buried.
Yeah.
Oh, and this game's perfect. You go to the options screen, it has 2 options. What do you want A to do? What do you want B to do? That's one of them. I can't even remember what the other one was.
I don't either. But they definitely wasn't anything like...
I think maybe it was spoken language. Maybe.
Oh yeah, you might have
we meant to
Japanese.
check. We meant to check that out, I think, and just forgot because the game. Because the game. People are confirming that is in fact what it was, the spoken language. I wanted to just hear the original Japanese audio and hear how it was probably fine. But I forgot. But that's okay, because we checked out the Wii U version. The Wii U version runs at like 15 frames per second on average. It's blurry.
Fucking 3DS game. How?
They put an insane filter over everything, which doesn't make the game look good. They changed the art style. Weirdly enough, what is his name? Blaze Hedgehog did a comparison of the Wii U and the Wii version.
Wow, okay.
So you can go see how there were colors in the Wii version, the one we played, and then those same levels of the Wii U are just completely desaturated and terrible.
Weird.
What? Who let them do this? Anyways, I'm so glad 7th Gen's done.
We got one cool feature of that version. It puts the girl who's always with you on the bottom screen at all times, and she yells at you.
And that's a great feature.
You get a Bubsy-esque option in the menu to tell you how much you want her to talk.
Yes.
Which, of course, you want that maximum. She's on the gamepad right in front of you. It's right there. You're good.
And maybe she still talks less than NPCs in other games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that game, thank God it didn't talk as much as Mighty Number 9. But yeah, at this point, I think it's pretty indefensible. I think Yuji Naka absolutely fits in the same hole in the ground as fucking Inafune.
Yeah.
They're the same sort of person.
My number 9 is better than any Yuji Naka game, I think. Except,
It's Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
You haven't been had your face held to the grindstone of Billy Hatcher yet.
No.
That's true. We haven't tried to beat Billy Hatcher. We did give it a chance, and that was a fun experience. So, if we hit that stream goal, we could check out Billy Hatcher and find out which one's the better egg game, Banjo-Kazooie or Billy Hatcher.
Did they make a sequel to Billy Hatcher? I think they did.
Oh God, did they?
No, they
That
didn't.
sounds
No, they
fake.
did not. I think they were only. I think they were only planning one and then did not.
Everyone is saying wised up.
You genuinely scared the shit out of me with that. I was like, how? How did I not notice? I should have noticed. But yeah, I think it's pretty easy to say that the Sonic team has maybe had some bad leadership since the beginning. Given that Sonic 2 was this great cohesive relatively package where it's like American tech and art production assistance, and then Japanese design to make Sonic 2, and then Sonic 3 is exiled as many Americans as we can afford to, which Yuji Naka said in front of the Americans in Japanese, and the American staff at Sega Technical Institute who knew Japanese are just like, excuse me, motherfucker?
Wasn't that for some other game?
No, I think that was Sonic 3.
No, I think it was 3D. They were making some
3D
non-Sonic.
Blast?
No, they were making some non-Sonic thing, and then Yuji Naka was like, "As soon as this game ships, we fire them all and take like 2 people left and put them on the Sonic team." And then the game immediately stalled, and I don't even think shipped.
Huh. Weird.
I think it was supposed to be a Star Fox-like.
Weird. Some people in chat are saying that might be from Sonic Extreme. But I mean, the thing is, like, with Sonic 3, that's literally what happened. Like
they were making a game called Geist Force, a Star Fox style on-rail shooter. They showed it E3 1998.
They already had Panzer Dragoon. Why did they need? I don't know. Man, Sega, what the fuck is your problem? Anyway. But yeah, with Sonic 2, for people who don't know, it was a much more even split in the team between America and Japan. And then Sonic 3, it was very, very few Americans left who were mostly involved in like programming, assembly, and like really technical coding, not design or art design or anything like that. Anyway, that's enough. That's enough about Rodea the Sky Soldier. Bob.
Yeah.
Have you played Pokemon?
I did play Pokemon.
Chris, have you played Pokemon?
No, not even a moment.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
We're going to talk a bit about Pokemon. Alphabetically, I'm supposed to put Scarlet before Violet, but I feel like we all know I should do the reverse.
Just put in Pokemon Scarlet Nexus.
Okay. I'll do it, but only because you told me to, and now I can just say, I was just following orders. That's absolved everyone of everything in history, right?
Yeah, don't check.
I am just going to say some stuff. And Chris, I don't know how you deal with people saying things about a game's quality before you head in. Sometimes I hear people do that, and so, like, for very specific things, like things that are meaningful to me and separate for me, doesn't affect me at all. But if I'm checking out a thing I'm not sure about, and someone's like, this is the Balan Wonderworld of video game, right? It kind of just sits in the back of my head, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Yeah. That happens.
Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is the best a Pokemon game has been since 5th gen. End of sentence. This is just a great fucking game. This is incredible. It is a technical dumpster fire of a video game.
That's really the impression I got about it, where I saw multiple people saying things like, I haven't liked Pokemon as much since 5th gen. Also, this is terrible on every level on a technical front.
Yes. 100%.
This is maybe the worst it's ever been based on how many normal people, like, I always keep like, okay, this person is a gaming person. They play a lot of games and maybe have different impressions than this person who is mostly an artist who talks about Nintendo games once every 4 months when a huge one comes out.
Right. Yeah.
But when even the normal people are like, why have I clipped through the ground like 4 times?
Yeah, Nintendo fans are not ready for literally Skyrim PS3 to launch on their platform.
Your casual Pokemon enjoyers are not ready for Skyrim PS3. Virtually no one is ready for Skyrim PS3 except for Bethesda fans.
Right?
They were trained and forged in the fires of Mount Mordor for that moment where they're like, my game just stopped working. I guess I'll start again. I did something to upset my save file. That's really on me, bro. I apologize.
Yeah. An artist I follow was like, yeah, I turned off autosave and got punished for it because the game just crashed.
Yeah, I have to sit there with autosave on in the absolute gripping fear that it may crash in the middle of saving one time. And that fear lives in me, but it's safer than the alternative, which is, of course, it will crash eventually. It's not will it crash, it's when.
Yeah. I've actually only had one full crash, and that was
good for you.
When we...
Good for you.
When we tried to do the link up thing, it's like, you can't find him. You now are dead.
Yeah, Bob's trying to find my game on the other side of this room. We're not doing the online hookup for the Union thing. And it's like, nah, he's not there. And Bob's like, I wonder why. Backs out of the menu and it crashed it. It was so good. Yeah, it's happened to me at least 3 times, maybe more. I have retweeted videos of Pokemon characters' eyeballs shooting out of their face like cartoon fucking wolves.
Yeah, it's funny because I see there's so many like legit serious glitches like that I see the ones that are just like, yeah, of course it would do that. And they're like, why do you even post it? Like when it's you're doing multiplayer and the second person can run around while you're battling the Pokemon and it looks goofy. It's like, yeah. How's that going to work?
That's the game. I'm sorry. Did you not know what you bought? Yeah, there's that stuff. There's the fact that about half, and I mean half, of the trainers in this game will just do a fun little spin.
Yes.
As they either finish throwing a Pokeball or are about to throw a Pokeball. And by a fun little spin, I mean 3 frames across which they do a full 360-degree turn.
Something that's really small but bugs me a lot. Anytime you see a trainer in the wild, their fingers will just be fully like just stuck out, like not gripping anything.
Yeah.
If you're too far away and you see it close, you see it. Okay, now they're actually holding the Pokeball.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
So the papers in class didn't bug you? When you go into the classroom and if someone's at a desk and they're holding papers and it keeps glitching to be either in their hands or lying flat on the ground. And it just keeps going. It can't choose which it is.
Yeah.
That was like, oh man, this game ain't ready.
The very first battle I got into, I threw my Pokeball and this Prigatito came out, stood on like the edge of a cliff. And the other Pokemon's like way up higher on the cliff, and the camera is stuck through the wall.
Yeah, of course.
It's like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I expected.
I mean, to be fair, it was on me when this happened, but I climbed to the top of the edge of the crater because you can see on this map this thing they call the crater, right? There's a giant mountain peak that leads to it, of course. And this isn't one of those craters that just goes into the earth. This is one of those that shoves up the land around it. So I climbed to the top of that. There's a magna zone in the stratosphere. And I'm just like, I really fucking want that magna zone. I'm going to just figure out how to hit it with the ball. So it took a couple minutes, but I finally do it. And then the camera goes, you want me to frame this battle? How the fuck am I supposed to do that? So most of the battle is just staring at the sky, and occasionally you can see my arm, and then I move the camera around, and I'm like, okay, now I can see it from the Magnazone's perspective. This is very funny. And my third evolution of Sprigatito is just looking up like this. Like, yeah, he's up there. The whole battle, just doing that.
It's so funny because a lot of these things are things that were in Arceus, and they just don't work now. Which is hilarious.
Yeah, of course. Of course, the one that needs to have like 400 plus Pokemon in it and all these other systems and things would be the one where it's like, we didn't have time to polish the fucking thing, so it looks whole.
Yeah.
The way I like to think of it is like a lot of people can walk into Sword and Shield and just not notice like the game is hollow, right? They could just be like, well, that's just how that is now. You know, much like my brother, he played 6th gen after taking breaks since 1st gen. So when he played that, he's like, yeah, I guess they all start with Viridian Forest. Like at some level, someone can play Sword and Shield and just be like, well, yeah, of course, this is like weird and it just seems not done or high budget. Seems kind of, but this one's different in that it's like, yeah, instead of walking up and being like, this is always this hollow, right? It's them being like, there's no way I'm supposed to be trapped in a circle of hell while playing this, right? I should have just clipped through the ground and died there, right? But yeah, as I said, this is the best fucking Pokemon game since 5th gen. It's not even close in my brain. There's a lot of cool stuff. I'm going to get into very, very mild mechanics exclusive spoilers. So I will not be talking plot points, but I will be talking about things that you are mechanically rewarded with for doing other things. So if you have a problem with that, I don't know, just mute for like 1 minute, maybe 30 seconds. I think this is a good tip, honestly, and I wish I had known from frame 1.
Okay.
So that's why I'm talking about it here. In this game, you have the 3 quest lines. You have, Operation Starfall, you have Titans, you have gym badges.
Yeah.
As you get gym badges, more items show up in the shops, like better potions, better Pokeballs. As you defeat Team Star's camps, you get high-end TMs that are based on what their type is. And as you do Titan stuff, you get mobility functionality. So, knowing that, it is odd to imagine someone doing just one of these, being like, no, I'm doing the whole thing. I'm not going to touch.
Yeah, I mean, they even structure the game in a way where you wouldn't do that because it's literally like, okay, you'll run into 2 or 3 of these separate events going on in this one area.
Kind of.
So you want to, if you go through the map logically, which is obviously not what I did.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about my playthrough, and I'm like, that mountain has to be jump up backwards, Bob.
Right.
I was Death Stranding my motorcycle up the icy mountain again.
You were.
It felt so good.
But yeah, clearly the intent is to play all 3 at once.
Kind of. I mean, you can just ignore Team Starfall, like the Operation Starfall.
Yeah.
Because there's no demerit technically to that one.
No, but it's still right in the way of you walking.
Well, it's not in the way. You can definitely go
you can
around.
walk around it, yes. But
Yeah, you can.
You see them all on the map.
They're like, hey, you got near our entrance. Don't you want to do the thing? And I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of like doing my own thing. Bye. So this structure is really good. I, of course, found a cave where I entered it like Yusuke during the Dark Tournament and emerged unbelievably jacked. It was pretty good. I got like 13 or so levels out of that. That is something I'll want to work into a sort of Monday playthrough series if possible.
Of course.
Real good stuff. All I could say about that is, hey, maybe have, some fairy type and also a strong poison type. Actually, Clodsire. Clodsire's really good. I'll just say that because that covers 2 of the 3 types you need to enter that cave and just wreck shit. That's the Wooper evolution.
Okay.
Man, Monday's gonna be good. Anyways, but yeah, I'm just it was a great moment. This cave and this game in general, it's been delightful as the gym challenges are fresh. They have interesting ideas instead of what if you did some really lame battles.
Yeah, also your rival might be my favorite in the series.
Yeah, no, the characters are great this time around.
Yeah,
every storyline has great characters.
It's weird. Yeah, it doesn't. That you never see that in Pokemon, even in one storyline. Sometimes
I was gonna say once again, the best it's been since 5th gen, where it's like, here's a great cast, and I'm like, thank you so much. Yeah, it's good. I think individually these 3 storylines are the strongest storylines Pokemon has had. The fact one game has all 3 is nuts.
Yeah.
Absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. This is an incredible game. I can't wait to beat it. Beat it again on Pokemon Mondays, and then beat it again with the optimized PC port. Because I'm just curious.
God, I hope the Switch 2 can fix some of these problems.
Dude, okay. I told you about part of this, but I didn't tell you everything.
Okay.
So I mentioned to Bob that Tosh, who I got Switch OLED, she loads into Terra Raid battles faster than me, even when I'm the host. And I'm like, okay, all right. That's weird. I looked over at her Switch and her game was running better. I'm like, no, I don't want to see that running on the TV to confirm that is running better than my Switch launch model. That might break me as a person. I'm just going to wait till the Switch 2 and hope it, kicks that up a lot.
Yeah.
But nobody warned me. Nobody warned me the Switch OLED could run games better or at bare minimum load them faster. Because she's also on cartridge.
Yeah, I thought that it was supposed to be the same exact hardware with a new screen.
Yeah, I could have sworn we did the tests. Not us, but like Digital Foundry or something that maybe. But who knows? Maybe its portable mode just runs that much better than docked. I don't think that's the case, but that wouldn't explain the load times.
No, it wouldn't.
But yeah. Anyways. Did you have any comments you wanted to say? Oh, the soundtrack's good and not overly compressed. Thank you, God. It's been since 5th gen. Anyways, hey, Bob, did you have anything else you wanted to...
I don't think I think we covered most of the things.
Okay.
I'm really liking a lot of new designs. I like
yes, they're very good.
Just how open it is. Like my playthrough became insane as I was like, I'm going to look for outfits.
Yeah, Bob's like, I have $10 left because I spent thousands on shirts.
The main problem with this game, honestly, you were stuck with only the 4 school outfits, and then the rest you can customize your accessories like your hat and your socks and
glasses,
shoes,
gloves, shoes.
But
socks.
You are stuck in those 4 uniforms they give you, which all kind of suck for Scarlet.
Yeah, I was going to say, for the sake of journalistic integrity, we must note at this point he has Scarlet.
Yeah, like I shouldn't have had the assumption that I would have the ability to change to something more Scarlet colored than just orange.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, there's nothing like that. Yeah.
I understand.
I like the lizard that I got though, so that's
yeah, your lizard that swims when it's on water instead of mine that just goes, I'm gonna move. And I'm like, okay, all right. One time I jumped off of a cliff. This is another example of this game. It really isn't done. I jumped off of a cliff.
Okay.
And I just accidentally mildly spoil it, but you eventually get the power to travel on water in this Pokemon game. They probably showed that in a trailer, but still.
Yeah.
Jump off the cliff, land on the water, and the momentum of hitting the water was so hard, Bob. It went all the way to the bottom of the lake. And since it was now registering as driving on land, it stayed down there. And I'm like, am I gonna drown?
Is this GTA Vice City?
And after enough time, it just respawned my ass back up the mountain.
Wow.
I was like, what just happened?
Oh yeah, another feature I really like is you can zoom in on the map and it tells you the order in which you've done events. So
yes, and that's numbered. Really good to compare.
Yeah.
Like it's really interesting to be like, Dan took the hardest gym on 3rd. Like it was my 2nd or 3rd gym because it's on the other side of the cave. So that's really on them. That's not on me. Aside from that, there's one more thing to note.
Okay.
For now. Obviously, we'll have a much more in-depth discussion at a later date. Obviously. It's when you get in battle with any Pokemon anywhere, you run up on them and then they go, ah, and they scream at the camera. And while they're doing that, its eyes, it is an N64 model. It just is. And so its eyes are triangles. Its mouth is a triangle if you're lucky. Sometimes it's a really demented, misinterpretation of what the model's supposed to look like. And by the time it's done screaming, it loads the correct model. And it genuinely horrifies me every time. I'm just like, it's so rough. Look at you. Oh my God. I'm pretty sure Pokemon Stadium had a higher quality model for this exact Pokemon.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, they could sell 10 million Switch 2s if they just have a better version of this game on it. Like if it's you put the game in, it looks great now. Sold. How much is it? 800? Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. I also avoided all leaks, even the starters.
Yeah.
So when I ran into the third evolution of Fuecoco, it was so crazy that I did not realize that's what it was.
That's fair.
I'm like, look at this fucker. Man, that's nuts. Halfway through battle. Wait a minute. But of course, Bob, you went with Sprigatito.
Yeah.
I went with Sprigatito. Tosh went with Sprigatito. I think Fuecoco will be what we roll for Pokemon Days. I think.
Probably makes sense.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the gift of Apollo once again coming to me when I made that horrible thing we put in the thumbnail a while back.
It's fine. It's mildly different from that.
It's very slightly different. There's accessories that are there.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I'm like, is the game we're playing text correct? Scarlet Nexus. That's not what we're. Oh. Aside from that, I think that's everything. I enjoy a lot of the character designs. I think they have some really strong designs this gen. I think the Pokemon Company's not slowing down.
I'm surprised by how many there are. Because
Mm-hmm.
there's a ton of teachers in the academy.
Mm-hmm.
There's
all 8 gym leaders and the Elite Four.
All the Elite Four. All of the Starfall operators.
Uh-huh.
They all have good designs.
Yeah.
And there's just a ton of them everywhere.
Yeah, Team Star has some really good designs. And they even go into that story-wise. Because this is a good game. It was really funny when the game's like, I'm a member of the Elite Four. And it was like you could stop holding your breath. I was like, oh, thank God. They're not going to be Sword and Shield again, where it's like, the Elite Four, you farted the same guys again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really like where I feel like it's undeniable. It's like they just cut like 30% of this game out.
Yeah, it was depressing. That was really when I just completely went, nah, Sword and Shield is not good enough. But yeah, this has been great. And as you said, tons of designs.
Yeah.
Team Star has great designs, and they have characters, and the characters have good writing. And it's really weird because I feel like it's been a while. Yeah, no, it's been exceptional. I think this is a truly great game. And I'm starting to make a turn mentally here.
Okay.
Is it fair? Maybe. Maybe not. I'm going to start blaming Nintendo for the fact this runs bad because if the Switch 2 had come out, it might run better. Maybe. So there you go. That's the mental turn I'm making on this playthrough where I'm just like, it's 2022. Come on. Your shit was outdated by 2 years by the time it came out.
Yeah,
Come on.
It's been too long.
It has. Mobile hardware ages really fast. So the thought of like, we're going to run this outdated Android phone for 6 years. 6 years.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, what are you doing? Yeah.
It definitely seems like the Switch has hit like market saturation. So they're probably, I would be stunned if it didn't ship next year.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
I will feel sick. Like it will be so confusing to me if the Switch 2 does not come out in 2023.
Like,
yeah, as you just said, they sold as many of them as they can.
We're already at the point of like really late Vita games, like the like the final Atelier ports they put on that fucking thing, and I'm like, this barely boots.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the thing is, like, to some extent, there are people out there rightfully pointing out that there are games with open worlds that look better than this.
Oh, yeah.
On the Switch.
For sure.
But do they have to manage all the insane amount of data in a Pokemon game? Right? They don't have to do encounter calculations that are insane like a Pokemon game does for shiny shit and everything. Your box is with you now everywhere. You're lugging a lot of data around in a Pokemon game that you don't have to in a normal medicated JRPG.
I'm trying to think, like, even Xenoblade obviously looks better, but I don't think that they put nearly as many enemies in the environment. Like,
right,
they fill the place with Pokemon, which I feel like is vital to the way this game works. Like, it makes it feel like the world is more lived in because there's
Yes.
Pokemon everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like in no world do I see this game, no matter how optimized, running well on the Switch is my thing. And that's why I'm making that turn of just like, I can't imagine this running well on the Switch no matter who handled it. Like, even if Nintendo first party handled it, it's just too many different things. If it was a more constrained experience with fewer things available, right? Then you could crank up the fidelity in a number of different ways and maybe it could run better. But it's like, in no world do I expect 20 plus Pokemon on screen in front of you in this incredibly dense environment with all this grass. Because, you know, you could make this run better if it didn't have grass everywhere. Yeah. So to some extent, I just feel like Switch 2, please.
Yeah.
But yeah. Hopefully it gets more patches to get more support. As I understand, they already patched it to remove the double stick input super fast running. I think that was launch day version only. But aside from that, I'm done talking about Pokemon because I'm not going to talk about any of the specific designs or anything specific anecdotally about it that I really enjoy.
One thing. I've been trying to think about it. Is this the first truly open world turn-based RPG?
Yeah, when we were talking about that before this big thing, we brought up Shin Megami Tensei 5, but even that loads into a turn-based, like
it does load into different areas, and it does, into battles, and it also does like fully sectioned off, like there's just big area zones, not
connected via hallways like Tony Hawk American's Wasteland
or load screens.
Whereas in this, there's just the load to get out of Uva Academy.
Yeah, that's it. The main city and then the rest of the world. So it's a lot like Oblivion, where I'm pretty sure the main town you load into, but everything else.
All in every Bethesda game, you have to load to go into big cities.
Yeah. Which makes sense. It makes sense.
And caves and shit, obviously.
In this, you don't have to load for caves, and my premonition came true of, man, since they have good open world tools now, maybe they can make a real fucking cave that feels like a good cave, and they did. These are some cave-ass caves. Like they may have had more visual candy in them in Sword and Shield, but a hallway with 3 branches off of it that are short dead ends, that doesn't feel like a cave to me, especially not a Pokemon cave. A Pokemon cave to me is a large fucking thing. And I think this captures that feel really well.
That's good, because Arceus had caves a few times, but they are the saddest thing. Like, they're basically as sad as the Sword and Shield caves.
Great. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this. You know, since Chris hasn't played it, I'll say it now. You get the move relearner stuff from your menu just like Arceus. So you can just swap out your moves. And that rules.
Yeah, there's so many things that are like, oh, thank God this came over from Arceus. I was worried it wouldn't.
Aside from that, hey, Bob.
Hey, what's up?
I put a lot of time into Pokemon, so I didn't play anything else.
Right.
Did you play anything else?
I booted up Resident Evil Reverse.
Oh.
What?
Yeah, that's out. You can play it.
So you solved the mystery of how you play it.
Yes.
Because you were having trouble, right?
Yeah, I was.
What was the deal with that again?
The deal with that is I entered the code for this game over a year ago and forgot. So it was sitting in my library, but I couldn't find it like through the store or anything. It was removed from the store. There's no way to get this game except for having this code from Resident Evil 8.
I have a quick question.
What's up?
What is the name of this? Spell it out. It is Resident Evil
RE :
verse.
Verse, yeah.
So it's Resident Evil RE verse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so technically, all right. Is it? Okay, all right. Continue.
This game is identical to it was when the beta came out, like over a year ago when
That's
I played
insane. Why was it pushed this far back?
I don't know. The only thing that is different is there are a couple more characters you can play as, but that's it. Like, they have the new Chris design instead of the old Chris design from 7.
Thank God.
Yeah.
That 7 Chris is terrible.
Yeah, but even new Chris looks awful. Everything in this game looks wrong in some way.
Yeah.
Like,
it looks like somebody exported the models from the RE engine to Unity.
Yeah, though this is still technically on the RE engine.
Which is surprising.
Right. Every one of them, they have some remake costumes from other Resident Evils. Like, you can put Leon in his Resident Evil 6 outfit. You can put
Jill?
Jill in her RE5 outfit where she's like in the weird purple suit with the thing.
She's a Matrix character with purple. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and the jewel. She has the Chaos Gemerald.
All of them look like they're in Halloween costumes you buy at Spirit Halloween. Like they're that level of this is wrong.
Cool.
And then Chris is the worst because it's Chris 8's head on Chris 5 body and it doesn't look right at all. Also, he's not ripped. It's bizarre.
How is it Resident Evil 5 Chris's body if he's not ripped?
I guess it's just his outfit from Resident Evil 5 over some generic body where his head doesn't look like it's the right size for it.
This is actually unsettling.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. How's the gameplay? Because you said it was identical to back then, but listeners may be newer. Or,
it was really bad back then. It still is really bad. It's one of the worst feeling third-person shooters you can imagine. But then the cool gimmick is when you die, you transform into a different monster from Resident Evil. And depending on how many virus canisters you find before you die, that determines what level of Resident Evil monster you become. Like you could even be that Resident Evil 7 Southern dude.
You need to be more specific because you have described
Chainsaw Man.
Okay.
The main guy, I cannot remember his name.
Okay.
Jack Baker or Joe Baker? I always get him and the Punch Man mixed up.
Yeah, I think that's Jack. Joe Baker's Punch Man.
Yeah, so you got to really turn to him with the chainsaw, scissors, and stuff. And that's cool. It feels really bad though.
Oh, okay.
And it's incredibly hard to find people for a game. And after the game is over, everyone's disbanded. So you have to go search again.
I guess they had a really good strategy here in that no one will remember this.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is the next time they announce a multiplayer Resident Evil thing, sorry, I'm staring at our Metroid poster. Metroid and nothing else. It says we on it, though. I don't understand. Anyways, the next time they do that, people won't realize how bad this was and immediately de-hype. If it had come out at launch, a lot more people would have known it existed, played it, and been like, man, they are really bad at this.
Yeah, I don't know why they keep making these. I hope they stop. I hope this is the last one.
I feel like this is probably the last one because they put it off so long. It's like, we need to make sure nobody plays it.
I want a Resident Evil thing handled by a third-party company that doesn't... How do I put this? Do something like Outbreak again. Make it a more traditional game. I don't need a competitive shooter that is Resident Evil, really. I don't need that. I don't need a team deathmatch that is Resident Evil.
No.
That's not as interesting to me as you doing something like an Outbreak or just giving me a multiplayer Mercenaries mode like 6 and the good ones do.
Yeah, that's the best thing they've had going for multiplayer ever. And it's like, why do you keep making these things that are just bad?
Yeah, I don't... Like here's the thing, and I can't say this enough. If I did video essays, it would truly be about this and how many times it's ruined a thing. Motherfucking games need to stop trying to be clever. I don't need the Resident Evil multiplayer game with a twist. You become the monster.
Right.
Like that sounds good to a movie executive. That sounds good to some person whose brain doesn't understand. Like, if you're going to make one of these, I just need the absolute certainty of understanding that it makes sense holistically as a product, right?
Mm-hmm.
So not Umbrella Corps, which I believe is the one they made on Unity in a rush.
Yes, that's the Umbrella Corps.
So no, I don't need my 37 frame per second third-person shooter that's made on Unity that doesn't feel exactly like a Resident Evil. No one needs that. I need you to not have clever ideas either. I just need you to assure me that this is a holistic product you've made that is just trying to be a certain sane, medicated idea for what might be neat. But instead, we're going to get really stupid shit forever.
Yes. See, they started making something interesting, and then they're like, turn into Exoprimal. It can't be Resident Evil branded. This is interesting.
Oh, that's depressing. The thought that Exoprimal could have been an actually neat multiplayer Resident Evil thing.
Uh-huh.
Maybe they just saw RE-verse and they're like, we're already making one. You can't make one too. Because yeah, you could see how they're like water simulation stuff for fluid dynamics being applied to the raptors would obviously work for zombies.
Right, like Days Gone did that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's entirely possible. I would not be surprised if someone from Capcom came out and was just like, it was a Resident Evil game, and they said no. And we're like, it's fine, we'll make it Dino Crisis, and then they waited a bit longer, and then they said no.
There is not a single project at Capcom that you can tell me was originally a Resident Evil game, and I wouldn't believe you.
That's almost company tradition at this point. I could be like Street Fighter 6. And then you'd be like, well, the open world. Yeah, I could see.
Yes.
You just start working around like that. Do you have anything else to say about Resident Evil Reverse?
No.
What a terrible title. What a terrible game.
Yeah.
I watched him play the beta for anyone who's curious why I could speak to that remotely authoritatively. That thing was obviously terrible.
Oh yeah, they actually had one more area than the beta had. So, you can now play in the village from Resident Evil Village.
Oh.
Cool.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Great.
Definitely worth waiting an extra year.
Once again, they're just burying the turd. Did you play anything else?
I also played God of War, but I feel like...
Did it end?
No! Yeah,
after last week's discussion, that is the new bit. I will constantly ask, "Oh, you played it? Did it end?" I feel like there was a monkey spa moment early this year when we did the God of War 2018 playthrough, and I was like, "Oh, I'm sad. This game was only like a 13 or 12 and a half hour stream. That makes me sad. I wish there was more to this game. I wanted it to be like 18 hours because it was such a fun time." And then the monkey spa curled.
Which it probably would have been if we did all the side quests.
If we did absolutely all the side quests, then sure. But it doesn't sound like...
I am doing all the side quests.
Oh, you're going to be in there a while, my man.
That's obviously the mistake Aggro made as well. But they're so good. You don't want to miss them. Like, that's literally... Really? They're really solid content. You get to hear more about the characters. The characters are good in this game. It's... While playing this, I keep thinking of how Horizon Zero Dawn and West... Forbidden West.
Yes.
Forbidden West has no characters.
Yes,
and they're all terrible.
They're the worst characters Sony ever released. Like they should feel ashamed.
What about the underwater casino guys?
They sucked.
Oh.
The only character in Horizon Forbidden West that's any good is Lance Reddick.
Oh, okay. I like CO.
And that's because it's Lance Reddick.
They have is little Lance Reddick because they can. In that, that's what it feels like.
Yeah,
Forbidden
West does not have enough.
And Carrie-Anne Moss is good, but the only characters that are good are one they hired really talented actors to portray.
And then of
who
course
carry the fucking terrible writing they did.
Yes, and of course, since they're really good actors, they're also very limited in how much time they can have on screen.
Yeah. I like the CEO. I like some of the bits with the underwater casino guys, but no, what you said is largely true, and I will agree to that. There's so many dialogue moments where it's like, oh, there's a struggle between this tribe and this tribe. We will now listen to these people who aren't interesting say things that aren't interesting with a performance that is very, you did it.
Whereas there's so many characters in God of War, and they all seem to be really good and well acted, and I'm like, this is weird.
Bob, that's not fair. You're comparing an open world game that got to build off of the success and systems of its predecessor with Horizon Forbidden West, which totally didn't get to do that. I promise. Man, and it's amazing how much more polish and thought you can put into your game when it's half as long. Because obviously, Horizon Forbidden West is probably an 80-hour game.
Oh yeah, if you do every side quest in Horizon, you'll probably just want to die.
Probably. Or you wanted to die before you started, so everything's just still the same. You were just like, I need to take 80 hours of my life and throw it in this hole. I'm glad you're enjoying God of War. Are you enjoying God of War as much as I'm enjoying Pokemon?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm excited to get around to God of War eventually.
Right.
Once I get done. Let me explain. Somebody in this game beat me. And that was not acceptable. So now we're level capping before I go back to visit them again.
You're deranged. You're 20 levels above where you were when you were beaten.
Bob, I'm 26 levels above where I was when I was beaten. I could walk in there and end them at any moment. I would walk in there, hey, what's up? And I would just start glowing like low tier God.
Oh my God.
This isn't about that, Bob. This isn't about can I win? This is about I'm going to erase them. When I enter that room, that person better just have the Yu-Gi fucking numbers, the Yu-Gi-Oh numbers flying down as they get banished. You should white out now. Exactly, Malice Toaster. But yeah, so did you play anything else, Bob?
No, that was it.
Okay. At this point, I need to point out I'm still looking forward to playing Spark the Electric Jester 3 before the end of the year.
Yeah, I have all these games that we've ordered because of Black Friday sale, early Black Friday sales.
Yeah.
So Xenoblade 3 shows up soon.
We got Chorves. We got what was it? I ordered that one that you were more interested in. Ghostwire Tokyo. I still have Harvestella, which I'm going to beat.
Uh-huh.
Tactics Ogre, which I'm going to give a fair shake. Like 10 hours to feel it out. Because I doubt it's going to be relevant to Game of the Year, but I need to know.
Right.
And I would love to talk about that in detail. I swear there's something else I'm forgetting right now that I already have access to. And the thing that I said I would wait for has happened.
Uh-huh.
Cyberpunk 2077 on PC is on sale for $30, so I guess I'll buy it.
Oh yeah, I also got this guy 6 for PS5.
Oh yeah, that was on sale for a decent price.
Yeah, it was like 30 something bucks. I was like, that's what it should have been when he did this launch. What are you doing?
I mean, it would have been nice if it wasn't 70.
Yeah, it should have been 50 or 60.
Yeah, 50 or 60, I feel like you would have been there.
Yeah.
Chris, did you beat that Disgaea?
Nope.
Okay. I was because Bob and I had the conversation. I was like, I feel like he just stopped playing at some point.
Yeah, it really, like, there's a reason that they immediately went back on the level cap is 900 billion and all your stats go up to 900 billion, because that really kind of killed the game for me.
Oh, that's sad.
Where it's like I don't understand how strong I am or how strong the other enemies are, and it doesn't feel good when you gain 300 levels at once.
Still thinking about the comparison to New Super Mario Brothers 2, get billions of golden coins.
In this, you'll actually get billions of levels, but when it's something is that granular, it doesn't feel good. Like all the other Disgaea games make sense. The main story is level 1 to 100.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get goofy in the post game.
Which makes sense. It feels great. Yeah.
Right.
In this, it's like you gain 400 levels after the very first battle.
Yeah, that is weird.
You know, it'd be funny if I just skipped over God of War and just went straight from Pokemon to Xenoblade 3. So I just get to live in giant JRPG worlds that run bad on the Switch dimension. You know, that way I don't have to play God of War and be like, oh man, this is like 1800p and runs at 60 frames per second. It looks so good.
Yeah, going back and forth is a little rough. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, why are you doing that?
Because I need to play enough Pokemon to not be spoiled by us doing Pokemon days.
That's fair.
And God of War is ramping up so much that I really want to see what happens next. Mm-hmm. And that's how it's been for the last 10 hours or 18 hours. I don't know.
Bob's lost track of time.
Oh yeah, I should talk about the glitch I had in God of War.
Sure.
God of War has this glitch where you can get stuck on a different difficulty.
Oh god, I forgot.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'd been playing on hard mode, and I finally hit something that was like, okay, this is getting too tough. I'm running out of time. I need to just go down to normal mode.
Mm-hmm.
I changed it in the menu. I'm like, okay, this still seems really hard, like just as hard. Play another 6 hours, then double check.
Mm-hmm.
And it did not change. Apparently, this is a known glitch. You can change it in the menu, and it acts like it fixed it, and you go back to the last checkpoint, and it just doesn't. It just doesn't work. So the workaround... Mm-hmm. You go into the PS5 system menu and tell it on that level to play the game at easiest difficulty by default. Because that's the thing you can do in the menus. So you do that. Then you make a new...
I had to set my PS5 to casual. I had to grovel on my knees hours and beg my PS5 to stop letting video games hurt me. That's what you did?
Yeah. And then you go make a new manual save file. Then you load that. And then when you do the checkpoint reload, it will actually change it.
That's insane.
Yeah, there's lots of other enemies I found online. None of the other ones worked for me. Because it's just a level of problem that can be fixed in other ways that will hopefully be patched out soon.
This game has gotten patched like 4 times since it came out, so I'm sure they're very aggressively like scrubbing shit like this out.
Oh man, it's like if you fucking in order to get this game to stop beating the shit out of me, I had to add launch options into Steam where I typed in - please stop, I'm begging you.
Yeah, it was. I had to it got really bad when I was doing these things that come back from one, which are those portals where Kratos reaches his hand in, then you fight like a set of enemies.
Yeah,
they got insanely hard. Like you die in 2 hits.
Oh,
I'm like, okay, guys, I need you to settle down just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
You spawned a boss character and 2 regular enemies to hang out with them. I don't want this right now.
You have to DM Jim Ryan.
please,
Sir.
Jim Ryan.
Sir, my bones are so soft. I'm sorry, I'm not enough of a gamer for you, Jim. You didn't tell me that's how you fixed it. You just told me you fixed it. That's so fucking funny to me. There's just like I've never had to grovel before my console and beg it to stop letting the game beat the shit out of me. That's so good. Oh my god. Okay. And I'm gonna move on. Hey Bob.
Hey, what's up?
Is that everything you played?
That's it.
Chris, what have you been playing?
I saw credits on God of War.
Oh my god, it ended.
Or did it?
It did end. No, it isn't actually over. There is a post game.
Oh
no. It took me 38 hours on my save. I think it was actually way more than that because I don't think it counts cutscenes or time you're in the menu.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna die this game of the year, aren't I?
So it's probably twice as large as the original game.
It feels that way playing it.
That's intense.
Especially late game when there was a couple play sessions where it's like spend 8 hours eating these eggs.
Just to be clear, if there's any mystery as to why I may or may not show up on a God of War Ragnarok spoiler cast, let it be clear, it's because that motherfucker just said it took that long and I haven't started the game at all.
Uh-huh.
That may be a problem. It may be smarter for us to just do an aggro Bob Chris spoiler cast on that one, but we'll see.
Yeah,
you'll see when it comes out.
That game is such a massive improvement over the first game. It's kind of stunning. It's every single aspect in every single way by like 2 points in every regard.
Man, that's great. The director of this game must be really smart and should be handed to Castlevania.
Yes, he should. The director said he wanted to do Castlevania. I'm like, let him.
Yeah, no, this game is structured in a way that would work for Castlevania, absolutely.
Man, if Sony just went, we're going to take Sony Santa Monica and make a Castlevania game, I don't know that I would ever stop smiling again.
I need them to continue making these.
But what if it just
God
said
of War?
Says Castlevania on the box.
Bob, have you gotten the thing yet?
What is it? Fucking Bob opens the Riddler box.
I believe I've gotten the thing.
Oh, fuck.
The thing is really good.
The thing is really good. I didn't think we were going to get the thing, but then we got the thing, and I stood up and pointed with both fingers towards the sky because I was really hype over getting this thing.
Oh, shit.
In fact, getting that thing was the moment the game kind of became a 10.
Holy fuck. Jesus.
Because there's one thing from earlier God of War games when you guys did God of War month earlier this year.
Yeah.
Where I was like, man, I don't think they would ever bring this specific thing back, but I hope they do.
Oh, that sounds good.
But yeah, it's just it's hard to my big complaint with the first game was like you have 2 Doom-esque mini bosses and no real bosses.
Yes.
Yeah.
In this, you have like 8 Doom-esque mini bosses and like 15 real bosses.
Maybe I
It's
maybe I need to go visit the end of Pokemon again and beat that guy up really quick.
And then there's just like, man, there doesn't feel like there's any big set PC moments in this game like the original God of War at all. And then there is in
Ragnarok.
It has the most important thing, which is that you get to do a QTE of brutalizing someone.
That is really fucking important. Hell yes. Good lord. Oh my god. It's a misdirect. It turns out Cory Barlog is going to be working on a Castlevania game, and this guy just wanted to direct the next one. What if we did it again?
Yeah,
really great. Once again, I am correct in all things because I had one major complaint with the narrative of God of War 2018, and obviously they got it a lot because they went on it so hard they maybe overcorrected a little bit.
Ooh.
They really need to patch an option to let you tell NPCs to shut the fuck up, like a lot.
Yeah,
the game needs that bad because it's not just here's a puzzle. They instantly start trying to help you, like frame 1.
Yeah. The funny thing is, 2018 did do that a decent chunk, which I remember because of our playthrough.
This is so much more intense.
Oh, I'm sure.
It is a lot. Like
sure.
The main thing I remember in the first one was that they would go, "You don't have the thing to do this yet." Which they actually fixed a little bit in this one, because now they just have like a big X over it if you get close to it. It's like, no, you can't do this yet. Leave.
Cool.
But like every time you get caught on fire, every single time you get caught on fire, one of the NPCs will point out you're on fire in case you missed it.
Yeah, and they only have like one voice clip for that.
Yes, each character has one voice clip for it, and it's really annoying because one of them is, "You're on fire, but you probably already know."
Yes.
Like, and that's an Atreus line, and that is like, there's like 5% of Atreus lines in this game. It is a very small amount, and it's none of them in the actual story. It's all like the ambient "you're doing things" lines. Where he turns into Morty.
Oh.
And that's one of them. It's like Anthony Birch wrote on this game, and you can kind of tell because just every once in a while, someone will slip into the, "well, that happened" Marvel type shit. It's so rare, but every time I notice it, I'm like, "Anthony, you motherfucker. I can tell this is you. Nobody else would do this." But yeah, I really liked it. I gotta try and get whatever the bonus thing is, because there was that bonus thing in the first game where Thor comes and lands outside the house, and I have been told there is something like that in this one where it hints at a future thing they could do, but I haven't seen it yet.
Nice.
That's all I have to say about God of War Ragnarok. I also started reading Claymore.
Okay.
The manga.
Yeah.
The developers of Solstice should be embarrassed.
Yeah, I was gonna say, was this because of Solstice or not?
It was just on my list, and I need things to read when I am at the gym, so I just read things on my tablet when I'm between sets or on the treadmill or whatever. Yeah, it's so much like Claymore, it's kind of embarrassing. Like, obviously, there's nothing wrong with games stealing things from anime and manga. That's kind of how all the best games ever made were created. But when you look at like, Miyazaki loves Dark Souls, there's other things in the game that isn't Dark Souls. I mean, there's other things in the game that's not Berserk.
Right.
Yeah.
There is nothing in Solstice that isn't Claymore.
Right. No.
That's kind of depressing.
Except the stuff that's more blatantly Berserk, which...
Yes, there's stuff like, okay, their sword is more like a sword in Berserk, but the character's design, backstory, powers, setting,
wow,
the characters and how they relate to each other are just templates from Claymore. It's really dire.
I need to go read it because I watched the anime, which does that thing that they do sometimes where it wholly diverges, and then they stop production of the anime, so I don't even have any sort of conclusion on what they were going for.
And
So I could at least go read the manga and get whatever the original intent was.
this sounds as rough as someone watching Razafon and then playing Astral Chain.
Reading Claymore is very funny though, because I really enjoyed the author's previous manga, which is called Angel Densetsu.
Oh, okay.
Which is entirely about a kid, like a high school student with a really fucked up, evil looking face who is the nicest person in the world. So it's funny how they just went, well, I'm just going to make everybody have this face in this game, in this set series where everybody's a weird monster person. Also, I streamed Sifu.
Yes, I caught part of that stream.
I got to the boss of the 4th level. So I got pretty far in my first playthrough, in just the stream. That game's really neat, even if I think the unlocking is kind of confusing.
Yeah, once you get your head around it, it's good, but man, it is definitely bizarre.
But yeah, that's a really great game where things can go south very, very quickly.
Yeah.
I also didn't expect it. I didn't know it had any supernatural elements at all.
Oh, yeah.
I knew you got older, but I thought that was like, no, you got beat up and left and came back 3 years later. I didn't know it had a supernatural element to the respawning. Yeah, that game's a lot of fun. It's like an arcadey style beat 'em up, but in 3D. It's like the first one of those that I think you can actually directly compare to something like Final Fight or Streets of Rage, especially since the most powerful weapon of all is a pipe.
Yeah. Yeah, it does feel like a more action game oriented evolution of that specific feel. And that's cool. I actually really love Sifu when I played it earlier this year. Got nowhere near beating it though, because I didn't own it, and now I just realized I have to do that before Game of the Year.
Yeah, I'm also on the buying things on Black Friday to play for Game of the Year. Like I just bought Shadow Warrior 3 for $4.
Oh god, that was this year.
Yes, it was in March.
Now it's $4. That kind of implies something.
It does.
Well, it's like some super ultra not Steam sale, but the key works on Steam.
Okay, gotcha. Yep.
But also, I'm pretty sure it's a case of maybe this didn't do so fucking hot. Because Shadow Warrior 2 really killed it when it decided to be procedurally generated Borderlands for no reason.
Yep. That was stupid.
Like, I really don't know what the fuck they were thinking on that one.
Yeah.
It's like the first Shadow Warrior remake was, we're making a linear shooter again. Remember those? Because this was like 2013. Then they got 7th gen brain disease for the second one. It's like, it's these random chunks of level, and there's Borderlands loot, and there's 4 players. Please.
The disease set in immediately.
Yeah. And then Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal are just over there like, you can just make a shooter, right? Oh.
Shit. And they're like, I guess we'll try to make Doom Eternal. And so I'm excited to see how that fucking worked out. Because there's been a couple we have Doom Eternals at home this year. There's that, and then there's that Postal one, which came out properly.
Oh, it did? Huh.
Yep. I don't
Did
think I'm going to play that one, though.
Yeah,
yes, he did. He already did an entire video on it.
Okay. That's great. So I'm not going into that hole.
That's everything I played.
Oh, that's everything you've played. You know what that means, Bob?
Oh, no, I don't. I forgot.
That means it's time for the Podlords.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yes, that's right. The Podlords.
Can we put the Podlords in a toaster? Do you think the toaster will dance?
I do not understand this. I now understand this reference. Yes, that's right. The Podlords pour pig thick dimension 198 in Thanksgiving, I guess.
Oh, shit, turkey.
Oh, shit.
My God.
The Turkey Lords. Oh, Lord, the turkeys. Turkeys such as E. Lee Broyles, Corey Brown, my reaction to the information.
That's a Pokemon.
Yeah, it's yelling at us, and it's gonna start the battle and get the better looking model.
Yes.
It's also a major character in like 3 animes this season.
God, that's so true. Red Blaze 27, Suzushiro, Emperor Zero, Shiba Yagato. Viola is young enough to have been conceived in the Garfield Dark Ride. I'm gonna say that's definitive lore now.
No.
The unsuspecting tyrant Rito. 101 Shades of Wonderful remastered. WTF Spider-Man. Ha!
Yeah, that's right.
BN12. Bob Stradamus featuring Dan strikes again. You know, I feel like the focal part of this image is maybe not the judge, but I'm gonna go ahead and credit Chris with that because he came up with the title for the stream and that Big Think Dimension, which used the same title.
Yeah.
Yes. I was also the one who brought up Rodea.
Yeah, unfortunately. Part of me, I spent a long time talking like to Tosh and then a little bit of time talking to Bob. I'm like, did Chris know we owned Rodea? How did Chris know?
Chris just assumed because, you know, it's us. Of course we own that nightmare.
DFW 3K. Did you know there are lots of great free movies available on Twitter.com? Sign up today. Did you get to see any of this?
Shut it down.
Ah, that's unfortunate. Last I checked, Tokyo Drift stayed up longer than expected. That shows how much they care about Tokyo Drift.
Well, that's what happens when your website no longer has any moderators because you fired all of them.
I know, it's fucking hilarious. Shiny Mew used Metronome. Metronome became imprisoned. It's super effective.
How could this have happened?
Oh no! Karnov, please calm down.
Ooh, that was scary.
It was scary. Kristen and Mariah Carey whack Potter is whack. Karnov is tight as fuck because it's Karnov-vember, baby. I figured I'd do it one more time because, you know, this is the last big think of November.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, of Karnov-vember. Kyle Bjork, Iron Aggro, Bligda Blue, Schligdus Poo, Monster Hunter Ryzen and Raiden. Now face it, you're just an enemy. You're crossing the line, now we've run out of time. Cooper Tank. Picture of Bethesda's PR department defending Marner Stratton. If you want to see that, go check out last week's Big Thing. I would have gotten away with it too if not for you meddling Square Enix executives. Man, he looks angry. I'm like, did they Photoshop him looking angry, or did he just get pissed in that interview?
It looks like they just scrunched his face and then flipped his mouth upside down.
You know, kind of like you do with the dog. Like, just make its eyebrows that look angrier.
Jesus.
You know. Fuck AAA. Support indie devs. Indigo Sykes. Drive Typecasts. Meow. Evil Lucario. Yep. No raccoons in this Podlore image whatsoever.
He's well hidden.
Impossible to see.
A pearl of lightning. A dream from the future. A drop of poison. A swan song. Play Hyper Demon. Yuji Naka when he tries to jump over the... Wait a minute. Oh, it happened. The infamous swap. Anyway, When You Remember Darkest Dungeon 2 is currently relegated to the Epic Games Store.
Oh, there's two?
Still?
Yuji Naka when he tries to jump over the car yard fence and only to realize his current costume can't jump. That's such a... I love this Photoshop.
He's so sad. His mouth is leaking off his head.
Yeah, his jaw's like melting. It's really tragic. The Hard M claims no accountability for this. The Academy demanded further explanation on the nature of Raichin Karya.
Oh, no. No.
Oh, he's got the Dustbuster. Is that his terrestrialized type? Flying?
No.
Sarah Lean, Timothy Pfister, Bearded Joe, Cleochrome, Krunglespum, Noodle. Oh shit, 2 Corones.
I still say the evolution should have just been a roll with a dog's face.
Just like a bread roll?
Yeah, bread roll.
You know, you can hope that the future games have like a baby form of it.
Yeah, I
It's
guess.
just a tiny golden corral roll.
Here's your Hawaiian king roll.
Ooh, thank you. Could you imagine this thing looked like a pack of Hawaiian king rolls? Just a cube, a rectangular cube. Fimbulwinter happened for real over the weekend. Why did I move to Midgard again? I've never been anywhere near. Yeah. I've never been near that much snow in my life.
No, but I survived.
It sucks.
Oh,
Sure.
And a Saints Row written by Randy Pitchford is now possible. God help us all. Thank you very much to our podlords.
Thank you,
podlords.
Okay, firstly, Randy Pitchford could not write a worse Saints Row than the one they just put out. Secondly, if you'd like to become a podlord, you can go to our Patreon at patreon.com/gbpodcast. For as little as $5 a month, you get access to many benefits, such as early access to Chugging Bleach and Pokemon Go to the Movies, our 2 monthly anime review podcasts. You get those shows a month early if you're a patron for at least $5. You also get extended versions of other shows we do when those shows force us to leave ideas on the cutting room floor, and a patron exclusive show 1 a month where you get to vote on what good or bad movie we have to watch and then talk about. That's patreon.com/gbpodcasts. And if you don't have any money, it always helps us immensely to rate us on Thursdays or host us on Thursdays before Twitch inevitably removes both of those features. Like this video if you're listening on YouTube after the fact, or review us in your favorite podcast app. That's patreon.com/gbpodcast. Also go follow the Twitter account, twitter.com/thepodcastdevil, to keep up with our weekly Chainsaw Man anime podcast, The Podcast Devil, patreon.com/gbpodcast.
Patreon.com/gbpodcast. I hear we got some news.
Yeah, it's been like 4 days or something, so not that much.
Can we start with the really good one?
Yes.
Okay, Yuji Naka's going to prison probably.
What? This is the first I'm hearing of this.
My God.
Yuji Naka was arrested for insider trading. Specifically, he bought 10,000 shares of stock of the company Aiming Incorporated because they were about to announce a game called Dragon Quest Tact, which I guess is some fucking mobile thing.
Yeah.
And he knew. And that's a big no-no when you use insider information to profit from trading. So not only might he go to jail, his career is definitely over.
Yeah, this stuff is not something you can sweep under the rug. It feels like if he has a career from here on out, it's Kickstarter tier, and you've seen how well that's worked for most creators. Like, you know, in Japan, where you have the Inafune big boom and then it's gone. So maybe he gets one, right?
I don't even think he'll get one, because the thing was, all of them except for Mighty Number 9, maybe, and even Mighty Number 9 got it somewhat, was they had some other publisher supporting it. It's like this is a interest finder.
Mm-hmm.
So, but even they won't want to touch him because of this.
Yeah, you're totally right on that.
Right, 100%. Unless it's something where he's going outside the country and working with some company that's elsewhere.
But would they?
I don't know.
Yeah,
No,
idea.
I think he's finally run out of rope.
Finally.
I'm dying. Good. Now I need to put the Zelda saying good on a fucking Stream Deck button.
This is finally, like, this is worse than Inafune ever was, because Inafune, at least as far as we know, was not a criminal, except for the fact he definitely embezzled money every single time he hired Spark to do something.
Right.
Allegedly. That I'm saying right now, allegedly. I am alleging it right now.
That's true. You're very alleged right now.
I'm just saying, if someone consistently hires the cheapest company to do something, when they themselves work for a much larger company and realistically would see no benefit from doing that, there's probably a reason.
Yeah, I don't doubt some money went missing there. It's okay. He worked to sell NFTs, and everybody was like, "There's no way he would do that. There's no way Keiji Inafune would sell NFTs." It's like, really? Do you know who you're talking about? Anyways, yeah, this Yuji Naka stuff is nuts. For the sake of clarity, let me explain something. One, everything in the financial sector is a fucking game and you're the one being played. Two, and more importantly, still, this is an additional level of horse shit on top of that. This isn't just, oh, this man burned the wrong people. No, this man tried to fuck people, right? Like, you legitimately are screwing someone if you go and use insider knowledge to do insider trading. Mm-hmm. That is not a victimless crime. So, fuck him. If not for all the games he made that were terrible.
Didn't he not even make all that money in the grand scheme of things?
$27,000 at the peak,
it was
I
not
think.
very much.
That is not much money, guys. That is not a lot. My car costs more than that, which is why I will be paying it off over the course of many years.
Right.
I think he made 20. Some people rounded to 20. I remember a number being either $23,000 or $27,000. That is absolutely insane. Yeah. What an idiot.
Right? Like, that's not worth losing your entire career over. Jesus.
Normally, you have to talk people down over way more minor shit like, hey, don't ruin your life because, this will happen. You'll find support and people can help you get through this, Not, hey, don't ruin your life to make under $20,000 sheer profit.
I guess the logic was, well, after Balan, I'm done.
Maybe.
So I guess I better try and get anything.
That's so insane.
I wonder if Square Enix knew, and that's what happened with him getting thrown off the game.
Yeah,
if they had an inkling.
You have to wonder.
Because I know something that happens a lot with those big Japanese companies is like this person embezzled or this person insider traded. We don't want to be in the news for that in any way, even as a victim of it. Just fire them and never talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a sound strategy. Everyone knows we got rid of Casey because of his insider trading. He invested big in other podcasts and,
Yeah, he announced really big in dip ships before we revealed that we owned them.
I know. That's so fucked up. Now he's made tens of dollars and is going to prison.
It was worse though, I'm sure.
It's not any more stupid than what Yuji Naka did. It is coming in at the same level, actually. God, how stupid. How stupid can you... Anyway, we should move on. Jesus Christ. Let me see. Yeah, go ahead, Chris. Cover other news.
Okay, Ubisoft is finally taking the fucking knee. They're just putting their games back on Steam. For a long time, for a while, it's been there. You can get them on Epic or our Uplay launcher. I don't think they've given up on Uplay yet, even though they fucking should.
Right, obviously they should.
But they're at least like, no, our games need to be on Steam so people will buy them.
Yeah, no shit.
Because I guess Ubisoft figured out something I would have known without being told, which is if you put a single obstacle between someone and Assassin's Creed, they just won't buy it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of games where I think people will swallow some stuff to get it. I don't think there's a single person that feels that way about Assassin's Creed. Not one.
Not in the year 2022.
Right.
They may have cared that much when Assassin's Creed 3 came out.
Before Assassin's Creed 3 came out, just to be clear, and maybe a little bit after that. I was thinking you weren't even going to bring up Assassin's Creed fans specifically. I thought you were going to bring up PC gamers because a console gamer can't exactly easily go and pirate your game. if you try to put a barrier there. PC gamers, much easier to do that there. So that multiplied by the Assassin's Creed, you need to have a seamless experience, because the moment they are remotely discomforted, they will probably just not.
Yeah, it's like you said. It's said previously, Ubisoft makes the only fungible games.
Yes. And they're proud of it. They like invented it. They're like fucking the Ford assembly model of fungible video games. They're like, we figured it out how to use 1,200 people to make the same cube.
it like Assassin's Creed is almost like fast food, and normally I frown upon food metaphors, but I think this one is valid, where it's, I'm not gonna drive way out of my way to go to a specific fast food place.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to keep it within the zones I will already be traveling. So this was like, Ubisoft was like, well, we put our McDonald's 8 miles out of the way. You're going to still come, right? It's like, no.
Yeah,
no,
if there was a McDonald's 6 miles that way, no human would ever visit it.
No.
Not one.
You have to dive past 3 other fast food chains.
Uh-huh.
It's like, I can name Burger King. It's fine.
Like, I'm trying to think if we've ever once been like, hey, let's go all the way to Fort Walton Beach just so we can get this fast food thing. And the closest thing I could think of is like, well, there was the time we were like, well, we got to go out here anyway, and KZ hasn't had Fazoli's. That's different.
We've done it for crystals.
Have we?
Yes.
I feel like we've definitely integrated crystals in some trips that were vaguely near crystals, but I don't know if we left our house.
Yeah, that's true. There was always some other thing that brought us there.
I think the only thing was what the Beyond Chicken Nuggets from KFC.
Yes. We did have to do that because they closed the KFC. They closed that KFC right before stream day, and I went, that's fucked up that you fed me that, and then ran. So we had to go to the KFC in Fort Walton instead of the one in Niceville. Jesus. One moment. Normally don't engage with chat, but I really need to. I once traveled 40 miles for Long John Silver's and I got sick from it. Says suspicious user VRC6 in chat.
That's no.
I watched a thing. I'm trying to remember the YouTube channel. It was a large YouTube channel, and their editor occasionally shows up in content, right? I'm informed. Their editor's on this fast food trivia show. And they're trying to guess if something is Long John Silver's or Captain D's or whatever. And the person goes, hey, you're from Florida, right? And the guy goes, yeah. And they go, Hollywood, Florida? And he goes, no. And they're like, oh, where are you from? And they go, Niceville. And I'm like, oh my God, what? What are you doing there? And then the person goes, well, guess what? You just got the question wrong. Guess it isn't so nice. And I'm like, I have so much PTSD. Stop it. It is enough of a curse to grow up in this town. Stop doing that to people from Niceville. Anyway, I hear we have other news that don't make me look like a raving lunatic.
Yes, Risen is coming to consoles next year.
What is Risen?
Risen is a 13-year-old Western RPG made by Piranha Bytes.
This was on like PS3 then, right?
It was on PS3 and 360.
Okay, I was like, I think I played this. Oh no!
It was them. Something happened where they lost the rights to Gothic, I think, and this was them making knockoff Gothic.
Amazing.
Now, chat listeners, if you've never seen Risen, I'm gonna paint a picture in your mind. It's 7th gen, so the color is brown. There's some green in there. It is, imagine someone was inspired by The Witcher 3 but had no money. That is what this looks at when I look at this picture over here.
Also, it came out 6 years before The Witcher 3.
Right, of course. Like, I'm just trying to guide them to the idea. It really is a Western RPG I'm looking at over here from 7th gen.
I played through most of it. It has a really interesting and fun first chapter where you're like doing social things and doing quests inside like the big port town on this island. And then the rest of it is going through combat slogs and caves.
Oh, I only ever played that first part. I would never guess it led to that.
That's like run all over the island to get the trinkets. All the way to get all the trinkets is combat slog. Now go through this big dungeon. It's all combat slog. Now go get these 4 other MacGuffins over the slightly altered state of the island. They're all combat slogs.
This is terrible sounding. I am surprised. This kind of looks like a game Ross's Game Dungeon would have played, because he's played a couple games that are kind of like this. I'm now able to put an image on screen. That does not have the pro tag, nor is it a gameplay clip, but you can see how 7th gen that looks.
We got
Yes,
blue.
it is. It is a very 7th gen looking game.
Which is to say, it looks much more technically advanced than Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
Yes.
Update on the Disco Elysium situation. The CEO, who allegedly bought his controlling share with the money of the company.
That makes sense.
A court seems to agree that probably happened, so they froze all his shares.
Damn. Good.
A fraud in the magnitude of 4.8 million euros is expected. Is suspected.
You see that, Yuji? That's how you do it.
Right?
I'll do it for $20,000. That's stupid.
Onoma, who is Square Enix Montreal, what they got renamed before they were immediately being told they were being shut down. All their mobile games are getting shut down on January 4th. You will not be able to access any of them.
Jeez.
Oh.
So that's stuff like Hitman Go, and there's some Space Invaders one, and a couple others. It's like, it's gone.
Wow. Okay. Jeez.
And finally, we already talked about the director of God of War Ragnarok being, let me do a Castlevania game. And they should.
Yes.
They're never going to get Iga back, and I don't want them to try and soullessly do an Iga game without Iga.
Right.
So just give.
Mm-hmm.
Just give it to them.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced that Sony isn't in some way helping on Silent Hill 2 remake, considering it's exclusive and kind of looks a lot better than what I would expect Bloober Team to be able to make, considering they're like 30 people.
Right. You expect some Sony money and support is going into that. Yeah, 100%.
There's always rumors swirling around about them having Metal Gear Solid, something with Sony happening.
Always something with Sony and Konami.
That Sony may or may not have like a gigantic stack of things to show the moment the FTC is like, no.
I'm sorry, Xbox, you can't buy it. That might be a competitive advantage. And Sony the next day is like, hey guys, State of Play coming.
Have you seen our dick lately? Here's how big it is.
They're just like, let me put this up on this desk.
Yeah, I like how before God of War came out, there was worry about, oh, this is a new director. He has been with the God of War series forever, but we don't know if he's going to be able to land this ship.
Yeah.
And after the game came out, I was like, oh no, this is great. Give him more, please.
A thing that I want to say about God of Ragnarok real quick again is Kratos is much less slidey in this game.
Cool.
Like in the first game, there was not as much as any other big Western action game, but there was still a little bit of the like, you're sliding towards them as you do an attack.
Yeah.
In Ragnarok, that's like gone entirely.
Cool.
It feels much more like a completely normal action game. That's all my news. There wasn't much because it's been 4 days and also it's Thanksgiving week.
Yeah. I'm shocked that the news document is as full as it is. But yeah, it would be great to see that guy make a God of War or a Castlevania game.
Yeah.
That would be exceptional. That would be top 10 Dan wish fulfillment. But hey, Bob, you know what also makes that list?
What's that?
Genuinely. Tetris Grandmaster is coming to PS4 and Switch. For people who don't know, Tetris Grandmaster is absolutely pro tier awesome Arika developed Tetris game in Japan that was for arcades. Thus why Hamster is handling this for the arcade collection stuff they do, arcade anthologies. This is cool as hell for 2 reasons. One, finally, someone gets to play this game. Because as someone who has always thought it was cool as shit, the only other people who know it exists is people watch Summer Games Done Quick and stuff like that, where they will occasionally do that.
Right.
This game's cool as hell. But the second thing this means is the Tetris company is probably pulling the stick out of their ass finally. Because for people who do not know, the Tetris company has really, really strict guidelines on how exactly Tetris is supposed to feel. How many seconds before a block hitting the ground will make it lock in place. They have so many micro rules about how a Tetris game plays. That is why you have not seen this game yet.
That's weird.
Artica just barely, or Hamster just barely got this through to make it possible. Because this is more of an elite, this is more of a pro Tetris game, which is cool as shit. Like, even if I'm not good enough to be like, oh, I'm going to see the credits, good fucking luck. You have to be a god to beat this. Anyways, this is great. And I really like this. They are, as brought up in chat, using this as a litmus test for, do we make another finally? Do we make another Tetris Grandmaster? So I will be buying this in at least one platform because as a lifelong Tetris fan, it has been weird and disappointing how much they stopped making multiple Tetris games at a time.
Yeah.
The last one was the Tetris Effect.
God. They had that in the Puyo Puyo Tetris stuff.
Yeah, well, okay, so this keeps happening. Tetris fans want to see a Tetris game devoid of Puyo Puyo, and Puyo Puyo fans want to see a Puyo Puyo game devoid of Tetris.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 is great. Thank you. But yeah, back in the 90s, late 90s especially, you had like the next Tetris, Tetris Worlds, Tetris Sphere. Mickey Mouse Tetris. You had a lot of Tetrises. Tetris Plus. You had a lot of Tetrises, and they all had interesting and neat ideas, and some of them felt good. Not all of them, but some of them felt good. Oh yeah, and Card Captor Sakura Tetris. That's really important. And then much later, you get Tetris DS and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but over time, it just dropped down to we get no Tetrises. It sucks, and I'm really glad that at least this is announced. And if this gets enough support and then they make another and then that gets support, we can get more frequent Tetris games that deviate even slightly from the psychotically strict rules that make them look like Sonic Team.
Is Hamster the same people who ended up doing the Windjammers?
No. I think you're thinking of .emu, are you?
Maybe.
Hamster does all the arcade collection stuff, ACA.
Yeah, I thought they might have done the port of the original Windjammers.
Maybe?
But maybe not.
I mean, they've done tons of stuff, like the fucking only version of Garo on Switch. You own games by Hamster.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I bought a few of those.
Yeah,
sure.
they did NeoTurf, so it's entirely possible they did Windjammers as well. Because I have their NeoTurf on the... Yeah.
Right. I was just trying to find something else that may have done this where it signaled the resurrection of the franchise and then they got back and actually made a new one.
Well, really, that has less to do with them porting Windjammers 1 and more to do with Dave Lang being wrong.
Yeah.
Dave Lang, open your fucking mouth and say, they'll never make another Tetris Grandmaster. Just say that for me. Okay? Please. Thank you, Dave Lang. Moving on. You guys know how every once in a while we get that like big hero project event in China where PlayStation China's just like, we're helping these games get made.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this time they were like, hey, we're publishing these two games we brought up for 3 years. And it's like,
what a surprise.
So those games specifically are Lost Soul Aside. Does anyone want to describe that for me? I can cover Convalaria, but...
Lost Soul Aside is the game that one guy was like, Final Fantasy 15 looks cool, but it's never going to come out, so I'll make it.
The irony!
And it looks like this game will probably play much, much better than Final Fantasy 15. It's a character action type game where you're a guy that looks a lot like Noctis, and you have like a swarm of nanomachines that turn into weapons.
Yes.
And it looks more real than a lot of these games from Chinese studios have looked. Once again, like I've said, eventually these need to start coming out so we can know whether or not they're real at all.
Yeah, that would be nice.
But yeah, you can look at this new trailer, which is and be like, what do you mean this is on the more real looking version, like scale of real to not real?
Yes, especially when you compare it to Convalaria. Convalaria, the other game they announced they're publishing and made important declarations about PlayStation China getting twice as many PS5 sold as PS4s. Convalaria is someone really, really, really has decided they are the biggest fan of Nomura art. So, as Bob pointed out, it is a heroine that is like every heroine from Final Fantasy for at least the PS1 era, basically.
Yeah, she looks like a weird mix between Final Fantasy VIII's character and Eris.
She does look a lot like Renoa.
And she's literally wearing Kyrie's dress. It's way too small for her because she's a full-grown lady.
It's really good because it's just like, that's her. Then you see things that look like the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. Then you see other things that look like Final Fantasy like 15 and stuff. It's amazing. And then they finally show gameplay in this trailer from 3 years ago. And it's just trying to be like a Destiny-like. It's trying to be an Anthem. It's so funny.
Even the trailer they showed today is like very Destiny-ish.
Yeah, the gameplay looks like that. All those cutscenes just seem like I spent the first 80% of the trailer being like, this is the fakest one yet. This is the fakest trailer for a game out of China yet. And then they show the gameplay and it's like, that doesn't even match with, okay, whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't match to what it runs real bad, so it's probably real.
It's probably real now. Yeah, finally.
But yeah, the end of that trailer they put up today is very funny because it's like Commander Shepard standing in the flower field with Renault.
All right. Other news. Let's see. I Aggro wrote some news in here, but was not here to deliver it. He says, I'm a big fucking dumb shit with a normal job. I don't know how that's news, but I covered that since he's in chat shit talking to Puyo Puyo Tetris while praising Columns. Motherfucker, you didn't even play Columns 3. Don't start on that. You have to own Columns 3 if you're going to be a Column stan, okay? You need to know what's up with that guy sitting with his legs man-spreading set to maximum on a pile of bullshit in order to be a true Columns fan. Anyways.
Dan out here gatekeeping Columns fans.
I am, actually, if you must know. It's breaking news because it breaks my heart. Hey, Bob. You got news?
I do have news.
I did not look at Bob's news at all. You're lying. This is a lie?
There is a new Broforce update coming out called Broforce Forever.
That game is ancient.
It's fucking ancient. It's at least 8 years old.
I think it's 2015. So yeah.
It came out officially in 2015, but it was early access since 2012.
Wow.
Yeah, that thing's ancient.
I remember because I was like, they did a tie-in with the Expendables 3, which was also a million years ago.
Yeah. So they're calling it a final massive update. It's going to add new bros and new missions, but we don't know what's out.
Does the game finally run well?
Doubtful.
God damn it.
I should describe what this game is for people who don't know because it's dog ancient.
So as he's describing this, imagine the smell of bacon wafting into your nostrils. You need to get in the era.
This is a very epic bacon Reddit type of game.
It really is.
So it is a 2D sprite-based side scroller. It has that shitty style of sprite art where like things will jib and shoot little pixels everywhere. And I'm trying to think of other games that look similar to this, but it's that one style where it's real simplistic.
Yeah, it's basically like go one step fidelity-wise above Lemmings.
Yeah, it's very Lemmings core. You have like dozens and dozens of playable characters. You don't get to pick which character you play as. They're all thinly veiled like parodies of big action heroes. So like one is Rambo, one is the Terminator, one is RoboCop.
Sorry. Brohard, Rambro, Bro Mando, Bro Dread,
I forgot that was their thing of putting bro in every single character's name.
McBrover, Brochetti, Time Bro, Broniversal Soldier, Colonel James Brodick.
Yeah, and they all have like minorly different abilities because and there's even a couple Fim Bros because I think like Ripley from Alien is in there.
Yeah.
And I think the fucking chick from Planet Terror, the zombie planet half of Grindhouse, who has the machine gun leg, is in there, and she can like fly by shooting down. And there's little tiny stuff like that. Yeah, and then there's stuff that doesn't feel like it fits at all. Like there's fucking Braveheart, which I would not put in the same genre as all these other characters, but he's there.
But we also had that crossover with the Expendabros.
Yeah, that was a standalone game that was free, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it works in that sense of it's a 90s/80s movie you remember and your dad likes. That's it.
What is it? What are those films called? Mustache films? People who are a big fan of this undoubtedly have a stash. God, these are terrible names. I need to close this.
Yeah, you do.
Okay, I'm throwing out two more. Bro Max.
Oh my god.
Like Mad Max, you see, they tried really hard. Brolander. Double Bro 7. Okay, I'm done.
Oh no.
I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done. Please, for the love of God, make that game run right. It's frame capped at 30.
Oh my god.
It always has been.
Even on PC?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
I was like, oh man, it's a shame this PS4 port's rough. Then I check out the original, and that shit's still frame capped at 30. I'm like, what is wrong with you? What are you, the people who made Luftrausers? Come on now.
Well, it's out early 2023. We'll find out.
Great. Awesome. That game was fun. It was fun. It was fine. I think removed of the era it came out in, it might be more tolerable.
Maybe. It'll be this weird relic.
Yeah.
Like it'll feel like you're playing a game out of time.
Yeah, well, that's most of what we do on this channel, really.
Yeah. So the Bro Force Forever playthrough day of launch?
Yeah, of course.
It'll either be fine, or they'll be like, we have to put a hat on how it's now a relic, so now we're really cringe.
I don't know if they can make it that much more cringe than it was.
Oh, they can make it more cringe. Don't worry.
They got the scientists working on it right now.
What else you got, Bob?
Cooking Mama Cookstar legal battle finally ends after 2 years.
My God. I didn't expect it to. I just expected it to just be in Tango forever.
Right.
What is the deal?
So the court finally found Planet Entertainment's release of the game to be unlawful. They have to take it off all shelves. For people who haven't been keeping up with this, what happened is Office Create, the owners of the Cooking Mama IP, licensed out them to make this Cookstar game for the Switch only. Only the Switch. Near it coming out, they got to see what the game was like and was like, oh, this isn't up to our standards of quality, and terminated the contract.
Okay.
Then the Planet Entertainment, the guys actually making it and publishing it, just released it anyway.
Very smart.
Yeah. And they're like, yeah, we can do this, whatever. So they've been in the courts over that since then. While this was happening, they released a PS4 version. They never even acquired a license for a PS4 version. Not at any point.
Right. Okay.
So now they're all removed off digital stores.
Great. I'm trying to remember if our friend Lily owns a physical copy of that game because it showed up at Walmart. And I remember getting the text that was, yo, should I buy this?
I remember Shibuya Gato did buy it at, I believe, an inflated price when we saw it was going to be leave shelves way faster.
Yeah.
I have no idea if she still has it.
Well, now Shibuya has to do the playthrough now. They just be like, look at this. They're burning books. Books that they stole.
Yes, books that they stole. And Office Create was like, no, this is damaging our IP. We need to not have this released because it is literally trash.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Terrible game. Hey, Bob.
Hey.
I just saw the next news and how you phrased it.
The worst Guilty Gear character comes out in a couple days. It's November 24th. We're getting Sin from Guilty Gear 2.
God damn it.
But first of all, how can you say Sin is the worst when Inazuma's right there?
I'm sorry. He's so deep in that game. I've never seen him. And no one else has.
Look, Bob, it's important that Sid shows up in as many things that aren't Guilty Gear 2, so that way people stop going, that's a Guilty Gear 2 guy. Because at some point you start to feel bad for him.
He's very
a combat
funny,
kid.
so I'm
sorry.
happy.
He's a combat kid? He's not a combat kid. He is not a combat kid.
A combat kid is when they're just like, they can do both things their parents can do. But he's like nothing like either of them.
He just looks like Kai, but lamer.
I think he's more like he's a Rock. Is Rock Howard a combat kid?
I would not call Rock Howard a combat kid.
Because he's the same thing. Because I think somebody said he has some of Soul's moves in his Strive version. Like I think somebody pointed out he has Tyrant Rave, which is funny because that just means Kai is a deadbeat dad.
I can't believe that. Did that sound believable, Bob?
No.
Oh.
But you can't bring it up or he'll just kick your ass like when he beat the shit out of Soul instantly that one time.
I like Sin Kisuke on paper. I have not played Guilty Gear 2 though. I remain untainted because you all voted against it.
That is like the big looming nightmare over everything.
It really is. There are very few dark clouds as huge as Guilty Gear 2 over what we do as a channel. Where I'm just like, oh God, that is going to happen someday. I think the next closest, and nowhere near as looming and scary, is Sonic 06, where it's like, oh, I have to beat that game for real someday. Oh no. Because I just beat Sonic's thing and went, I'm done.
Right.
Thank you. God.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, I just think that Sin is less cool than any other playable, like in a fighting game, character Guilty Gear has. Like anyone else coming back from their cast would be more exciting to me.
There is sure a lot of fucking, like every terrible Guilty Gear character is from 2.
Yes. Every one of them.
Except for Leopoldin, who's from fucking Isaka.
I don't even remember that one.
Now
he's like a dog piloting the corpse of like a Yeti. It's real dire.
Weird.
I'm gonna ask a question and please don't connect any dots, audience. Is Zappa in Strive?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, there's lots of really great characters.
No, I was doing the reverse. Anyways.
Okay. I think Zappa's really neat.
I think
they could put
They
could put in Zappa. I think Venom is still not in Strive.
Yes, Venom still isn't in Strive, which is crazy.
Slayer isn't in Strive. Johnny isn't in Strive.
That's okay. Then maybe they'll be in the next game when they erase this game's cast to make that one.
Is Dizzy playable yet? I don't think she is.
No.
But yeah, this motherfucker's out in 2 days.
Yeah.
This is a Thanksgiving boy.
Yes, he comes out on Thanksgiving Day.
What is up with that? That's weird. What a weird release date.
Yeah, and then that's coupled with this season pass also only being 4 characters and coming out over the course of like a year.
Wait a second, 1 second. RoboKai isn't in Strive.
No.
But you would rather see RoboKai.
Absolutely.
So you would rather see dumb robot version of character than child.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I can't bridge that gap.
RoboKai is funny. He's a joke character. It's like the robot Fortune. It's a joke character. It's great.
Okay, for one thing,
but
a 7 is a lot like a 10 in that they're both numbers. Robo Fortune is top. You don't get to just go, it's like, because yes, it's sure, in that the Mona Lisa is a painting just like that thing I made in fucking first grade, but there's a chasm there. There's a chasm of quality. I don't know. I think Bob just needs to open his heart to Sin. Maybe he's gonna play him in the new one and be like, this character's great. I'm gonna stop being a hater.
Maybe.
Is he in any game? He's in a game since 2, right?
Yes, he's in
Xrd.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
They took out his complicated mechanic because that's how it happens when a character comes from Xrd to Strive.
Yep.
They took out his he needs to constantly eat or else he's weak. mechanic.
Because
he had this mechanic where it's like he has a hunger meter and you have to use this move to pull out like the anime meat and then he'll eat it real fast and that fills up his hunger gauge.
Okay. But we'll just move past this.
Sure.
We don't want to divide the community. What's up, Bob? What you got?
Mugen Souls.
What is that?
It's a game coming to Switch in spring of next year. Dan, this is a Compile Heart game from the PS3 released in 2012. This is another Risen situation.
Who fucking published that over here? Was it really? Okay, it was Nisa, so things must be fucking dire.
Yeah. I would never have guessed.
Unless it's just literally so. It's been 10 years, so it might literally be long enough that they can just be like, no, our contract's over. We can do it ourselves.
Maybe. I didn't look up who was publishing this time.
It's probably not Nisa.
I've never heard a single person talk about this game.
No.
I don't even know how it looks.
Anime.
Yeah, that is at least the box art in America is very Disgaea adjacent.
Right. I remember
it's clearly the same artist as Disgaea.
Yeah.
I was fooled by that, and I might have played it. I at least thought about it. I at least thought about playing it.
I'm just gonna throw this image onto the stream of the Steam image for this game. When you Google the game's name, they're like, "Hey,
wow!" On PS3, the shit ran at like 15 frames a second.
This is what the game looks like, I suppose. That is what Steam's telling me.
Okay, yeah.
So, that's a thing. All right.
Yeah, those bubbles weren't there in Japan, and I think they said they won't be in this new version.
Okay. All right.
Of course.
Is this a shmup?
No.
It is some weird nightmare RPG with some weird nightmare mechanics no other video game has ever had.
I'd see. This is how broken my brain is. Okay, this is how broken my brain is. You said Compile Heart, right?
Yeah.
And instead of logically assuming it was
it's
possibly
it
bad
means bad
JRPG, my brain went, they made Guardian Legend. This is a shmup.
Did they do?
Yeah.
No.
They also made Puyo Puyo. Or that's Compile, not Compile Heart.
Yes, you're getting confused with Compile Heart.
Do those companies have
confused with Compile?
Do they have absolutely no connection?
I think Compile became Compile Heart.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But then they also started Compile Maru, which is a different company.
Cool. Hey, Bob.
Hey,
let's move on.
Sure. We got the next wave of Mario Kart DLC. It comes out December 7th. So
we don't have it yet. It's not out. But they gave us a date for it.
They dated it.
Because they already announced half of the stuff in it. Did they announce the other half of the stuff in it?
Yeah, they announced all the courses and stuff.
Awesome. What do we got? You're like, I didn't fucking write it down.
Yeah, I was like, there sure are like 18 courses or something here. I'm not writing all these down.
Let me see if there are any outstanding things. Do you know what wave it is? Is it 3?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Let me see if I can get a list here, because just bringing up Mario Kart DLCs, bring it up. It's like breaking news. Why today ends with Y. They showed some interesting stuff off earlier that I liked. The DS Castle Courtyard level, but from what I'm seeing here, none of this right now is making me pop. I don't know. Peach Gardens may be the peak for me, but they're adding another Rainbow Road. So,
yeah, which Rainbow Road was it?
3DS.
Okay.
From Mario Kart, no one played.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I can't be excited because I hardly played that one.
Yeah, no one really played 7. 7 did not get nearly as much playtime as any other Mario Kart in the history.
7's the 3DS one, right?
Yeah. Okay, Bob. This is it. This is our last. Is this our last news story?
Looks that way.
This is our last news story. Bob shot me with this right before we went live. I think Chris actually did. Bob,
what's up?
Do it. Say it. This is absurd.
Hyperkin's working on a replica 360 controller for Xbox One Series and PC.
I have 2 of those on my desk right now. It's called the Xbox One and Xbox Series controllers.
a lot of people like the 360 controller more than those.
Yeah,
they're wrong.
I think that they're just better in some ways.
I think,
but there are ways that they fix later, because a lot of it was they launched the Xbox One and made it worse in every single way. Like, oh, the shoulder buttons don't work right anymore.
Right. They had to fix the Xbox One launch controller to fix the shoulder buttons.
Yeah.
Because the hinge was on a side, and it was like, okay, now I can't click the inner side, dumbass.
Right.
The 360 controller in my mind just feels like a weird Fisher-Price version of the modern Xbox controller.
It does, 100%. I think a build quality-wise, there are a lot of problems with the 360 controller.
It also has maybe the worst D-pad ever.
I think in the one tie, yeah.
Yeah,
I guess the one has more clicky thing going on, so that's something.
Of every controller we have, which we have a controller for virtually every console ever, when it comes to build quality, the 360 controller's down there with the original SNES controller and the Master System controller.
Yeah.
It is bad. So the thought of, Hyperkin coming out and making repro, that could actually feel good and take the same form.
It could.
So I hate that I'm saying this. I'm more interested in this than I was the Duke. Because I have...
Yeah, the Duke is a novelty thing of where it's like, oh, this is really stupid and bad, but we need it.
Right. It's, this is funny. And they stuck an OLED in the Jewel. That's funny as shit. The Duke replica they made was pretty solid quality-wise.
Mm-hmm.
So the hope is this would be 2. And then I could play Halo 2 and 3 on the Master Chief Collection on PC via my new 360 controller. That's important.
But I don't think it's going to be wireless.
I don't PC game wirelessly.
Okay. Just so you know, it has USB-C now. They're adding a share button, and they replaced the start and back buttons with the menu and Windows, whatever it is, the lines and the squares.
Yeah, the fucking God, we knew the name for the squares at one point and we had a stroke.
Yeah.
Bob, I don't want to question your journalistic integrity here live.
Okay.
That occurs to me as completely impossible that this does not have any Bluetooth functionality. Because usually with these, they hook up to the console.
The one replica didn't. Or sorry, the Duke replica did not.
The Duke replica can't hook up to any Xbox wirelessly.
No, just wired.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. How much money does that save them?
Who knows?
That's got to be like less than $1.
There's always been a thing where third-party controllers do not link up properly wirelessly. They need to do some weird workaround. And I guess Microsoft has a license, even though these get licensed through Microsoft to be made. Maybe they can't get it.
And it's really great that that's a lesson Sony learned from them eventually, right? It's great how Microsoft has innovated this space for nothing but positive. The DualSense only works. Yeah. I'm going to look this up real quick. I need to see it live.
Yeah, I honestly feel like, though it is more Fisher-Price like Chris was saying, I think it felt better to hold. I think it was all around a better controller, and they just kind of made a worse version as they went forward. Except the D-pad.
Okay, that share button, because of the structure of the 360 controller, is in a terrible spot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that just is going to be a total pain in the ass to reach.
That's the same place on the Series controllers, and it's bad there too.
Mm-hmm. I feel like with the stick difference and a little bit of spacing, because it's not the exact same spot. It's literally, let me go grab the controller. So I feel like, sorry, I have to grab the correct one. This is a test.
Oh no, you picked up the Switch Pro controller again, Dan.
No, I don't have that problem. But here, I can actually show this on stream. Let me zoom. Okay, see how the share button's directly in between those two elements?
Yeah.
That is not the case here, which you can't... Okay, there you go. When I turn it like that, you can actually see that on stream. It is above it.
Yeah.
That is a lot more reachable, because this is bad enough, right? Mm-hmm. Moving it lower is even worse.
Yeah, you can easily hit that wall.
They found... Please, put it higher on this bitch. Put it like... I don't know, literally next to the USB at that point. That is more reachable.
Dan, it doesn't matter because there's no way to actually share things off an Xbox anyway.
That's true, because if it happened by now, we would have seen anyone share anything ever on Twitter.
I could not figure out how to make the share function work at all when I wanted to share pictures of stuff from Immortals Phoenix Rising. I had to just hook it up to my capture card and be like, okay, screenshot.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
it's like it can upload to Twitter. Maybe now that they got that Discord functionality working, if you connect it to your Discord, you can share things through that.
Part of me wants to believe I shared to Twitter once successfully, and it was the hugest pain in the ass. Like, they sure didn't get the fucking assignment. They didn't understand it in the least. And it still took them years. How many years did that take them? To make the... Because the second Elite controller is the one that added the share button. They beat the new console to it.
No.
The second Elite didn't add it?
The second Elite added the USB-C, but no share button. So then
and then the new console added the share button. So it literally took them the entire gen.
Yes.
They still couldn't figure it out, really. Wow. Wow. Anyway, I'm pretty interested in that. I actually will buy one. We'll check it out.
Yeah, this thing's called the Xenon. We don't have a price for it yet.
Okay. Bob, is it Xenon or Xenon, like the the 360 processor?
Xenon, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
It's an X.
Yeah.
It's a wild card. I have no idea what they want.
Xenon's a different word. But yeah. Okay. I can see why they would name it that. It's like if you made a PS3 replica controller and you just called it the Cell. The Cell controller.
God, a PS3 replica controller. What's wrong with you?
Because if you buy a PS3 replica controller, that's where you belong, in a cell.
Yes.
Oh, good. It's mushy, just like I remember. Thank God.
Oh, I want a PS2 controller that feels worse in every possible way.
Right? Jesus. There are very few ways a PS3 controller feels better than a PS2. And there are a ton of ways it feels way worse. Anyways, that's it. That's all the news. We did it.
Well,
we succeeded. We got this done. That way people who are driving to Thanksgiving get a nice little big thing to listen to on the way. We get Thanksgiving off. My plans for Thanksgiving actually fell through. So, hilariously, unfortunately, Agro's not here to hear me say it. I finally, after 16 years, finally get to do the Mythbusters marathon on Thanksgiving that I've been jealous of this whole time. Because my plans for Thanksgiving fell through. So, this is great. I'm going to play Pokemon, watch a shitload of Mythbusters. This is going to be a good time. Bob, what do you have going on in the next week other than possibly entering your house to see me watching Mythbusters?
Right. That's it, man.
Okay. That's cool. Maybe you'll finish God of War, thus proving Chris isn't lying about that game having an ending. Because he might be. It might not actually have an ending. I don't know what to believe anymore. It took so long. Chris, what do you got going on in the next week other than eating and passing out for a day?
I don't know. Maybe there'll be something, but I have no plan. Have it planned.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope everyone listening has a very happy Thanksgiving year. If you're elsewhere in the world, a very happy Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Crash Day. Because every day is a Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Crash Day, of course. And we will see you next Thursday. This is not a permanent thing. Do not come here on Tuesday expecting your big thing. No. We will see you next Thursday for Big Think Dimension. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of Big Think Dimension. Podcasts such as this are only possible because of your incredibly generous support over at patreon.com/gbpodcast, where you can get early access to series such as Chugging Bleach and Pokemon Go to the Movies. Head on over there now to get tons of content and maybe watch yourself some Isolation 119 for the holidays.